I need to share a dream that I had and a message that I have for us from the Lord. Please don't take it lightly. I promise you I will never ever stand up here and say that the Lord said anything that he didn't tell me to say. I will never speak in his name unless he leads me to say anything. So when I stand up here, it's not just to fill time, and it's not just to say something to pass time. But I'm always prayerful before I stand up here, and I'll be quiet before I say anything that the Lord didn't tell me to say. I had a dream that we were having worship in our house, but it wasn't. In the dream, it was just the living room, and in the dream, I saw all three of my sisters-in-law there. They had come, and two with the kids, with their kids, had come over to have worship. Of course, I saw our kids as well in there, and so we had come together that morning for worship, and immediately after it was over, everybody just like ran. There was no fellowship or anything. The kids ran outside to play in the yard. Somebody went to do laundry. Somebody went to the store. Somebody went to start cooking, and all of those things. And I was standing there in the living room, and the Lord said to me, gather them all back together here. Tell them to come back here, and explain to them that we're too distracted with the things in our life, and our level of commitment to him need to go to another level, that we're not committed enough to him. In that, he told me to say, not only to those who are here in person, but even for those who are online, because that's exactly the way the message was, because we ended up, I ended up gathering everybody, or telling everybody that we were going to meet again later that day, was that the Lord is looking for more commitment from us. If you've been coming here physically, or you can come here physically, the Lord said that commitment needs to be there. It's for those who are online. If you consider yourself a part of this ministry in any way that you consider yourself a part of this ministry, that God is looking for your commitment, not just to the ministry, but it's to him through the ministry. Because if he called us to be a part of this ministry, he has something for us to do. And again, I'm going to say, I promise you, I'm not standing up here trying to tell anybody anything about how Antoinette feels, but I am going to be obedient to the Lord and say what it is he told me to say. That we have to be consistent in our walk, because he wants us to, and this was the second part of it, he wants us to bring people here, because there are people that need to be ministered to, and we are falling short in that area. He wants us to get people to hear the truth. But if we're not committed ourselves, we can't bring anybody. We can't lead anybody here. We can't help anybody else to get closer to the Lord, because our commitment, our level of commitment is not there. And so I just needed to share that because that's what the Lord told me to share concerning that.
All right, and I think also in that dream you said about how and I want to stress that, how I think the kids went outside to play. I think some people were like watching the game or something like that.
There was an older gentleman in the house who turned on a game right after. I don't know who he was though.
And so one of the things the Lord wants us to do is not to lose what we've gained. In other words, sometimes you all will hear me pray about, Lord, let that word be planted in their heart so that they could take root. Well, let's think about something in part of the dream, like what you saw, how right after worship, people were getting distracted. Kids ran out to play. Some people were watching TV. Just different people doing different things. And I think you had told me the other day when you told me about that dream that how what was it? I've lost my thought now. But basically, how the enemy basically comes to take what it is that was planted through our conversation. Like say for instance, if we just heard the word, then the last thing we need to do, and that's what I was going to say. Like it shows that during the service, how our minds are on the different things. So let's say, for instance, right now it's 11:08. Most of us know this is football season. The game starts at 12. If we're not careful, before church is out, while the preacher's up preaching, or Lord's doing what he's doing, however he's doing it, we'll be thinking about the game, or we'll be thinking about what we need to cook, how we need to get the kids ready for school tomorrow, what are they going to wear, what all they need to do when they get home, to prepare. We'll be thinking about all of these things, and the whole time the devil is snatching what we've learned. And so what happens when the word is supposed to activate in our lives to for us to overcome whatever it is that we need to overcome, especially if it's a word that we've heard, then it's taken away. It's not there anymore because of all of the things that we allow to run through our minds and all of the things that we do right after church, instead of, Lord, I'm gonna meditate on this and what you have to, and so many people do that, after church is over, preacher dismissed or whoever, we run right to our lives and run right to what we were doing, instead of, okay, Lord, let this sink in. So here's my question. How many of us, and this is a rhetorical question just to get us to think, how many of us actually think on the things that we've heard when the Lord have spoke to us in the message? Do we actually meditate on these things? You see, so let's be careful and make sure that we don't get ourselves distracted with the cares of this world, and the devil just comes right in and snatch it. That's one of the things that we learn in the parable of the sowers and the soil, that people will receive the word with joy and be thankful. God, that was a good word from you. Well, the devil don't mind if you received it with joy, as long as he can come and bombard your mind with all kind of other stuff that's going to stop it from being rooted in there to begin with. And so that's part of what you were saying
right.
there.
And I do remember that was actually the first thing that the Lord told me in there, that people's mind were not on the word because of how they left out. And I did record the dream with all the full details in it. And that was I believe that was one of the first things that, that was shared in the dream. So I just pray that we will all take heed to that, and, just be prayerful and ask the Lord about, what level of commitment he's looking for from us individually, because all of us have a work to do. The Lord wants to use us to reach somebody, and that's our purpose in this earth. It's not just about us doing the things that we want to do, because if we're not doing what God has called us to do, we'll live a very unfulfilled life, and it's meant to be that way. He's our creator, and he created us for a purpose, and we should find out what that purpose is and get busy trying to reach somebody else so that they can enjoy the fruit of having a relationship with their creator as well. Because many people just don't understand that.